while California is usually known for its glitz and glamour. It would be the main stage of one of the most jarring criminal incidents in modern history. Two heavily armed bank robbers would leave the nation shocked as their heist was broadcasted on live television. They wreaked havoc on the streets of North Hollywood with no regard for human life. Let's take a look back at the horrifying story and find out what actually happened. Emil Manusarenu and his partner in crime Larry Phillips Jr. were both very highly intelligent men with a common goal. The two first crossed paths while training in a local California Gold's gym. Both had an unhealthy interest in bodybuilding, and they would spark up friendship with one another. Over the years, they both faced some financial struggles, and they soon would embark on pursuing a life of crime to make some fast funds. Phillips Jr. was a supreme planner and had a history of elaborate schemes. Manusarenu had an extensive knowledge of weaponry. The duo would combine their unique talents and travel to Colorado for their first attempt at an armed robbery. The two successfully pulled off a heist on a first bank armored vehicle. The men made away with thousands of dollars after the incident. While they did get away scot-free from this particular crime, a few months later in California, after laying low for a short while, they would be pulled over for speeding in a stolen car with several weapons in their possession. The local police were unable to link them to the crime that took place months earlier in Colorado. But due to the obscene amount of weaponry and the rather questionable items in their possession, they were both charged with grand theft auto and a conspiracy to commit armed robbery. They were sentenced to 3 months of incarceration and 3 years of probation. But once released, their crime journey continued despite the minor setback. Manusarenu and Phillips decided to start targeting banks in the Los Angeles area. After some careful planning, within the span of a couple of months, they would successfully rob 2 Bank of America branches in California. They wielded fully automatic weapons, the pair dressed in heavy body armor with their face covered, and they easily were able to intimidate the employees to obey their commands. The two strategically kept the heist under 8 minutes to avoid law enforcement responders. From both robberies, they walked away with approximately $1.5 million in cash. No one was killed in either of the heist, but multiple tellers were injured in the incidents. After staying under the radar for the next few months, the pair were highly confident in their criminal capabilities. The two men started planning another robbery for what would be their biggest score thus far. They began casing another Bank of America, located in the heavily populated North Hollywood area. It was much riskier than previous robberies as it was a bigger branch, on a major street. They monitored the routines of the police patrol and fully memorized the bank's layout. The morning had arrived when Manusarenu and Phillips would carry out the heist. Before exiting their vehicle, they took a few prescription pills to calm their nerves. Heavily armed in broad daylight with ski mask on, they made their way to the front entrance of the bank. A police unit nearby spotted them and called in a 211 over their radio. Immediately after entering the bank, the men fired multiple rounds in the ceiling to get everyone's attention. They had no resistance from the bank staff or their customers. The manager of the bank promptly followed their commands and opened the bank vault. Extremely frightened, the elderly man filled their duffel bags without hesitation. The vault contained significantly less than the $750,000 the gunman expected. The pair locked all the hostages in the vault, and they made their exit, with a few bags holding around $300,000 in cash. While they were inside, multiple North Hollywood Division patrol units had already arrived on the scene. The police had taken strategic positions surrounding the bank. Phillips would be the first to spot the officers, and a dramatic shootout began. Manusarenu would follow suit and spray rounds alongside his partner in crime. The police were extremely outgunned in the encounter. They were only equipped with standard-issued handguns and sharp guns. Many officers didn't have bulletproof vests, which made things even more troublesome. The deranged gunman managed to shoot several officers with their AK-47s. Soon the local news would catch wind of the breaking story and send camera crews out. The body armor worn by Phillips and Manusarenu were impenetrable. They would take several gunshots and appear to be unfazed. Their Kevlar body armor was homemade, thoroughly planned out and specifically designed for supreme protection. The police were forced to quickly retreat as the armor-piercing rounds were just too much to deal with. After several minutes of having their way with local law enforcement, Manusarenu climbed into the car, as Phillips would cover him with automatic gunfire. As they exited the parking lot and entered the residential area next to the bank, Phillips opted to remain outside the vehicle as they wanted to avoid a high-speed police chase. More and more gunfire would be directed their way as Phillips was the only one firing. The two would eventually separate, while Manusarenu wanted to make a run for it after the shootout. Phillips had other plans and decided to trade gunfire with the surrounding officers. But now alone taking on the police by himself, he was struck several more times by the officers scattered along the street. When his automatic weapon jammed, he then switched to a semi-automatic handgun. Alone and having no way out, and now being the one outgunned, he fatally shot himself. All focus then would be shifted to his partner in crime. Emil continued on for a few more blocks down the residential road. The getaway car started to fail after taking so much damage. He then attempted to carjack a truck that was traveling toward his direction. The car owner decided to abandon his truck to get to safety. Manusarenu then began to casually transfer his weapons and ammunition over to the new vehicle. But he was unable to get the car started, which resulted in another standoff with the police. The Los Angeles SWAT team had finally arrived on the scene. They used their technical skills and directed their shots toward Manusarenu's unprotected lower body. This would drop the lone gunman to his knees and force him to surrender. But due to the excessive blood loss from the shots taken in his legs, Manusarenu would later die waiting for medical assistance to arrive at the scene. While no officers or civilians were killed, 20 people were left injured after the incident. What do you think about this story? Leave a comment below and let me know.